Okay, welcome to Bitrix Live. I'm Damien Edwards, Commercial Manager of Bitrix24 Partners Interface. Our contact details are on the screen there. We're based in UK, we have offices in the US and UAE, and we manage all pre-sales support, so we can do a demo, answer questions about the different editions of Bitrix. We can we provide a full implementation service, that is customization and training, and we provide a support package as well, telephone support package. So if you want to send your questions in the chat box on YouTube, do that, or email them to live@interface.com, and we can answer any questions you have on the subject of Bitrix24. We have some questions coming during the week which we're going to start off with, so if you want to send them through now or later on, we'll come back to them next week. And contact details on the screen there, so get in touch with us if you need a demo, one-to-one demo or anything like that at any time. If you're evaluating Bitrix, have some questions about it, and come back to us and we can answer those questions. But do post your questions in the chat window, and we will answer as many as I can. So say we've had some in already. I'll kick off with how do I set up my own custom fields in the CRM. So let's have a look at that. So if we go into our demo site here and into the CRM, so custom fields, let's first go into, so any record within the CRM, you're able to customize the field to any record within the CRM, so those are leads and deals, contacts, companies, invoices and quotes. So let's go into companies. It's very straightforward. So we go into this company here, and so right hand side is the activity stream. At the top of the right hand side you'll have, firstly you have pinned activities, so notes and emails and telephone calls and things like that you want to save. I've got a couple of those up here. Below that you'll have planned activities, outbound calls, tasks, meetings that you have scheduled in, and then below that is the history. So in fact, if we go into one of our contacts, then generally you would add activities to a contact associated with the company. So if I look down here now, I can see in my history things like text messages, quite a lot of text messages, emails, and of course any notes you made. They're all booked. They're all added to that right-hand column. In terms of, to go back to the company record, in terms of custom fields, they sit on the left-hand side, and they are organised into sections. We've got this one called company. We've got required fields. We've got one called more. So these are all ones that we've created. Services purchased. So these are custom sections that we've created on this demo site. So the first thing is, do you want to arrange the sections themselves. I can edit the existing section names, and you can delete a section down here, and if you go right to the bottom you can add new sections in here. So we've got a couple of sections here that are empty. Let's get rid of some of those. So that's the first bit, sections. You can then add in your fields. So you'll have fields which are standard fields which are visible out of the box. They won't look like this. This is a site that's been changed around quite a bit. But first thing you can do is move around these fields. So I can drag and drop to get the layout that I want for these fields, and you can remove items. So we've got a couple here called which we don't want. Let's hide those. one here called listing, don't know what that is, let's hide that one. Probably don't need to show the ID, let's hide that one. Let's hide a few of these so that we can sort of clean it up a little bit. So you can hide those fields that you don't want and move around and create the layout you want. You can then select additional fields that are available, either standard fields or custom fields that you previously created. So we probably want to bring in phone number here. We can bring that in. And to answer your question, how do you create custom fields? Two ways now. Is add a field here. There's a little link. If you're an admin, you get the option to add a field. If you're not an administrator, I don't think you see this link. So you can then choose from the options you've got here in terms of types of fields, standard text fields, a list which is going to be a drop-down selection list, date, time, Google Maps, money field for values and things like that in deals, attach a file, link to a website, tick box, yes, no tick box fields, and you click on the additional fields one, then it takes us through to the settings page, whereby we actually get access to some additional options in terms of what fields we can create. So we can create all the ones we just looked at, I think, but there's some additional ones at the bottom here. So bind to user, that would allow you to, so each record is linked to a user in the system. So a company would have an account manager, you would associate that. The standard term for that is responsible person. If you want to bind an additional person to a record, I think an example of that might be where you have a sales contact and then you also have a technical or a support contact, which is a different person. You can use this field called bind to user, and I can name this tech. Let's call it tech support. Let me just add this and I'll come back to show you the other fields. So I can add the field called tech support. If I go back into my company record now and refresh the page, then I can select here the field that I've just created, tech support, and scroll back up to the top. This is the field. Let's just drop it underneath our responsible person, and this allows me to select somebody as this contact. So we've now got two people, a responsible person for the company and a tech support contact for the company. So that's one useful field. Let's just look at the others just quickly. Bind to CRM selection list. So you can create lists for various purposes. It might be that we do quite often see them done with businesses where they supply products on hire out to businesses, and they want a full inventory of all the products that they've got out on hire. You might use a list for that. So you can create a field that binds to a list, an individual list item. It binds to information blocks and block elements. Just a quick look at that. It's a bit more complex, but it allows you to bind to. Not too sure whether actually you can do this bind to information block sections on the cloud. We could check that, but this gets a bit more technical. Bind to CRM elements would be something you will probably use. So we do get asked quite a lot. Can we create a permission structure whereby we have a parent and child companies, whereby one company can be associated with another company? We can call one of those companies the parent, one of them the child company. You can do that by creating a bind to CRM elements. So we're in a company record here. I'm going to bind that company to another company, and I could call this parent. I won't create it now, but it will allow you to then, inside the record, select another company so you can see the association between those two companies. You can sort them if you want to name, if you want to put a number into sort so that some will come before others by default. You can make them mandatory fields. So a record can't be saved unless the content of this field is populated. You can make them multiple fields. You can add, in this case, I'll be able to bind to one company and then another company, and really an unlimited number of companies. Showing filter, showing list. So that's the filter is. Let's just go back to companies up here. And this is the list. So these are these are the fields we have shown in this list. I can select additional fields here, so that tick box is saying, do you want those fields? Do you want this custom field to be available in this list view? Sorry, I'm going to problem with my mouse. So do we want it to be available as a list item? With in one of these columns. And filter view is, do you want that field to be used, available to be used as a filter item? So we could select, let's just select the one we created quickly. We've got to find sometimes tech support. Here it is. So we could select tech support as a filter item, and I think I put John Smith in there on that one. I could then filter by all the companies that John Smith is the tech support contact for. If you don't have that box ticked, then it won't allow you to do that. It might be a reason why you don't want people to do that. So those are those required. Those are required and multiple. Those are those showing filter and showing list, and that is it. I think you can create your custom field. So this section here actually sits inside the CRM and settings. So you can create your custom fields on the actual record itself, but there's a limitation on the sort of types of fields that you can create. If you want to then go and review all the custom fields you have, go to CRM and settings, and go to forms and report settings, and then custom fields. What you probably want to do is click into fields for, say, company, and just review what you've got. So we've got quite a lot here that we've been playing with on demos and things. So what I'll probably do is remove some of these. Parent, we just created that one. Tech support, we just created that one. We don't need that. We can delete that. Let's delete some of these because we don't need them all. So try and keep on top of the custom fields that you have. So yeah, and you can, of course, you can go and edit any of these fields that you need to edit. So yeah, the question was, how do I create custom fields? I think that's it. How do I create custom fields in CRM? I think there's one thing worth mentioning lastly, if you go back into the company, you create your sections, you name the sections, you add the fields you want to in those sections, you create your custom fields and add those in as well. You've got the page layout you want. Just go into here and you can set so you've got, each user has their own different views. You have switch to my form view, switch to common form view. So I'm on what's called common form view, and I think that's default view for all users. So this is the view that everyone sees, and if I make changes to this common form view and then click set common form view for all users, which I'm going to do now, then everybody will see the changes that I've made. So those custom fields that I've added in, the sections I've created, and all the different changes to the names I've created, that's then users can switch to their own my form view if they want, and then toggle back to the common form view. So that's it. That's how you create custom fields. And it's the same. You need to do it in companies, contacts, leads and deals, etc. So Klaus says your software is the most amazing thing I've ever come across. Well, that's cool that you've discovered Bitrix. If you need any help, then let us know at all. Okay, in the previous session I've already asked, but it was not the expected answer. Do I have a way to add external emails to a work group where Google Analytics statistics get automatically? So let me just read it again. Do I have a way to add an external email to a work group where Google Analytics statistics get automatically? So let me just read on. In the user file, we have two external email codes, one for the stream, one for the task, and look at the same thing for a work group. Okay, yeah, I see. So you can send a message to a task by emailing a unique URL for your system. I think so. You want to do a way to add external emails to a work group. You can't post an email to a work group. I think you can only post it to a task. If you had a self-hosted version of Bitrix, let me just go in and show you what you can do with a self-hosted. You could do this sort of thing because you can create emails and rules. See if we can find it in services. So in the self-hosted you have mailboxes and mailbox rules. So that's different to the mail client that you have on the front end. It allows you to receive emails and then perform processes on those. So just quickly click in. So you can see we've got here support@interface.com. That's a typical example in that any emails coming into support@interface, we have a rule set up here that would create a support ticket. In the self-hosted, you have a help desk and create tickets. But you can do other things. So you would almost definitely be able to receive an email in and post that email into an activity stream of a work group based on somebody referencing an ID in the subject line of the email or something. It's just so you can create a rule here, give the rule a name, and then you can add your conditions in here. So subject line contains, and what you might do with help desk tickets, they have a TID, ticket ID, TID. I think it's a hashtag TID, and then there'll be a number after that. So what we're saying is if the email line contains hash TID, then we should perform this rule. So and that rule might be to create a help desk ticket, or in this case to post it to a work group. So you can create these rules whereby the incoming email, if it's subject to that rule, it can then perform an action. And we would write the action. In this case, you can write the action in PHP, so you can really do anything you want. And if you want to post it to a work group, we can post it to a work group based on looking for the work group ID in the subject line. So you're going to have to put something in the subject line in order for us to know which work group to post it to. But it'd be possible if you have a self-hosted, and if you have a self-hosted, then if you got in touch with us, we'd be able to help you set it up for you. How can I add an email received in the email to a lead or a deal or a project? So you can add, you want to add it to a lead or a deal or a project. Too sure, let's have a look. You can, if you add, let's have a look, we've got our mail set up. If you add your mailbox, so each individual user needs to add their own mailbox, and then you can continue to use your Outlook or Gmail as an email client if you wish to, but still set it up inside Bitrix. Inside Mail, we've got our setup here. Just add your username, password, credentials, and that will allow Bitrix to receive those emails as well as in your other email client, and it will also allow copy those emails to the relevant contact in the system. So it'll look for a contact that has that email address from the sender, and it will copy it. If you're sending emails out from your email, from your Gmail or Outlook email client, it will find who you're sending those emails to as well, and it will copy them. So you get to sync all emails, but you want to copy those emails into a lead. Just you want to send them, copy them to a lead, a deal, or a project. It only copies them to a contact. I'm not too sure if you associate a contact with a deal, whether it actually copies it. You'd have to just test that, whether it copies it across to the deal as well. If we look in a deal, or if we look in a contact, I guess first of all, then you can see. I looked at this one earlier. Here we go. Email messages. So you can see email messages are synced into that contact. If a contact is associated with a deal, then it may copy those emails across to the deal as well. I know if you have an email address in a lead, it will sync those emails into a lead. So it'll sync it to a lead or a contact. I'm not too sure if it copies it into a deal. You mentioned project, so actually copying an email to a project would require, project being a work group or something, would require you to, as we said, have a self-hosted and then reference the work group ID or something in the subject line somehow to be able to. I mean, we have set up a system before where we create a different email address for each project, and all you have to do is CC that email address, and then it copies it into the work group. So you can do all sorts of things like that. You need a self-hosted to do it. Could you tell us something workflow? You have to tell us a bit more about what you want to see on workflows, I guess. There's lots of different workflows in Bitrix, so they exist inside the CRM, inside tasks, inside documents, inside the HR ones, inside the activity streams, different ones. Just let us know what you want to see. Can you explain how to connect an email account into Bitrix? I get an error when I try to connect a Gmail account. So I can't show you exactly because we're already connected, but if you go to your mail link here, and on this page, if you're not connected, it will you'll have all the email providers, standard email providers, including Gmail. And I'm guessing you've tried it and you've had an error. If you're having an error, either the credentials are wrong or there is a problem with the system. If you're getting an error, then just check your credentials, and if you're, I guess, which you've probably already done, if you're continuing to get an error, then you need to raise a ticket with Bitrix, who will fix that for you. If you have support with us, we can look at these issues for you as well. Otherwise, go to Bitrix. All right, yeah, okay. So Eduardo's answered that question. Klaus, you have to give access to less secure applications. Absolutely right. So inside Gmail, there is a setting, because you're linking a separate application. You're not accessing your email through the standard Gmail client. You need to access it through an external application. And you're right. Inside thanks, Klaus. Inside one of the settings inside Gmail, it's you need to tick to allow access to less secure applications. What they call it, less secure applications, they would consider any application other than their own. So there is a setting which you have to go. Your administrator has to go into to change inside security. I think inside Gmail. Okay. Let's put our contact details up if you want to get in touch with us with any questions. So when using CRM marketing module, is there a way Bitrix24 can prevent our emails going into a spam folder? So is there a way, there isn't anything you can do as such to make any impact on this. Firstly, if you're using the cloud, all emails are sent through the Bitrix servers. There is a way to, a recognised way of monitoring how successful bulk email providers such as MailChimp and others and Bitrix are, and Bitrix score as well as MailChimp does. So their success rate of bypassing spam filters and the recipient receiving the email in their inbox is the same as if you're using MailChimp. So it's all about the score that the system gives, the international email system gives to the domain, the service that's sending the email. So that's if you're using the cloud. If you're using a self-hosted, you set up your own email service. We can help you do this. There's lots of different ones. If you're hosting on Amazon, they have their own providers. So you need to configure an email service, and depending on, I'm not an expert on this, but depending on the sort of domain and the service that you're using, you'll get a score. So if you're sending lots of spam emails from a particular domain, then that domain's going to get a low score, and so those emails are going to continue to go into spam regardless of what you do, which system you use. So yeah, you need to be careful that you don't, obviously you'll allow people to unsubscribe from emails, because if you don't allow them to unsubscribe from emails, they'll hit spam, and that will affect the success rate of delivering emails to other people. Okay. And creating a custom template using a doc for a quote could show the list of variable fields or a link to where I can check them. So we can show you that. So if you go into custom template using a doc, right? So if we go into go into quotes, and if we open up a quote, then we have these documents available in our system here. If we click in documents, if we click in add new template, so these are the ones that are available. You want to add a new one or edit them, go to add new template. Now these are the documents we have, and we can download this as a Word file, and you can change it, which I think you've probably gathered, because you just want to know where the list of variables are. So if you go to the settings up here, and fields is the link you want, click into fields, and these are your variables. So quote date is this, is actually, we're just looking at quotes here, and there's actually 8,000 different variable fields that you can use in your quote PDF designs. Is it possible to connect an SMTP from my own hosting company? So I don't know the details of. There's quite a few different options, I know, and I'm not an expert on this. So you certainly need. You need, if you're self-hosting, if you're using the cloud, then when you send an email, it goes through the Bitrix email servers, and that's it. You can't change that. You can put your email address in, and it will use that as an alias, so it comes from your email address. But if you're self-hosting, then yeah, you create your own email service, and I think it's an SMTP service. I think, but not too sure. I mean, if you want to get in touch with us, we'll help you set it up, and we can put you in touch with our server guy, who will give you the options, different ways of doing it. Okay, can I add dependencies to tasks, e.g. task 2 does not start until task 1 is complete? Yeah, can do that. So if we go into tasks, so there we are. You need to go to your task page, and you need to go into your Gantt chart, and from here, if you hover over the start, what did you want to do when one? Task 2 does not start until task 1 is completed. So that's it. So when this one is complete, then we want this one to start. That's all you need to do. Create a dependency so that when this one's complete, this one will start, and that's it. There are, of course, 4 different options you've got there. when this one starts, this one can start. When this one ends, this one can start. When this one starts, this one can end like that. And when this one ends, this one can end. I think, there are 4 different variables you can do. Does Bitrix24 have a client module for outside users? Yeah, absolutely does. So it has what we call an extranet. I'm looking in a self-hosted version at the moment, but it's the same in the cloud version. We have it hosted on /extranet. The nice thing about having a self-hosted is that you can choose your domains for things like your client module, your extranet area, and so you could have it on something like portal.yourdomain.com. Nice and easy place for them to access it from, and essentially your extranet users, your clients, can access any features of a workgroup. So there's certain things they can't access just directly under the terms of the license. So they can't access any CRM data at all, and they can't access any HR tools. So they couldn't submit requests for leave and things like that. You wouldn't want generally an extranet user to do that. And they can't see your sales data. You probably generally wouldn't want an extranet user to do that either. So they can't see those. But they do get access to a workgroup. I'll just have a quick look at what features they do see inside a workgroup in a second. But I just want to show you that this is a self-hosted instance. In the self-hosted, you can customize some stuff, or quite a lot of stuff actually. And on this one, we've put some custom banners on the right-hand side. So the standard banners, if we go back to the main site, these kind of widgets. If you want to promote some of the things that you do to your clients who are logging in, then you can create custom banners and add them. Quite easy to do. If I click into edit mode, get its self-hosted feature, I can roll over these and choose where that links to, choose the image I'm showing, etc., and do some of the settings inside there. So you can add these different banners and quite easy to edit them if you have a self-hosted. The other thing is that, let's just log out quickly, you can create a custom login page as well. So if we're talking about inviting your clients in, your own on the self-hosted, your own URL, your own login page design, no Bitrix branding, and then custom banners and inside the system. So yeah, that's it. I mean, and let's just have a look at what features they get access to. So essentially, they get access to any of the tools that exist inside a workgroup. They have to belong to a workgroup in order to be able to log in. If they're not in a workgroup, they'll log in. It will say, give a warning message to say that they don't have access to this area of the site. So they have to be in a workgroup. You would create a workgroup quite often if you invite clients. So you might create a workgroup for either the project you're inviting them into, or you might create a workgroup for them as a client, so they can access their workgroup, and yeah, they get access to tasks, get options to open tasks and contribute to tasks with making notes on tasks and seeing the latest updated tasks. You can post into the activity stream, review comments and things like that in the activity stream and make posts inside there. They get access to the calendar. Pretty sure they can create their own events to check that. You can create settings to allow them to do certain things or prevent them from doing certain things. Certainly around tasks, you can just require them to, you can just allow them to view tasks rather than sort of edit and delete and things like that. So they can see calendar events, they can access the drive, so that's a great way of sharing documents with client. Each group has a chat window, so if you want to invite them in and they can ask you questions, support questions and things on chat, then you can do that. And inside each workgroup we have lists, and so if you wanted to create a list for things like expenses, then you can give them access to that kind of list as well. Okay, I do not use the on-premise version yet, but I know in this version there is a help desk module. This module will be available in the cloud soon. Well, I don't know if the help desk will be available in the cloud at all. No plans for that. Can you show a bit how the analytics look like on Bitrix and what data can be gathered and analysed over time? So if we go into the home page, then the analytics are very different depending on whether you've got the cloud or the self-hosted. On the cloud, you have the company pulse. This gives you a bit of information. Let's go into a month view. We can see then, based on the company, overall company for the last month, the general usage in total. We can see the usage by individual. This is a demo site, so it gets less usage than other sites. You can see some activity here by day, and I can go into individual users and see their activity again with the same sort of splits by different modules, and then I can review different time periods as well. So that's the analytics for the cloud. If you have the self-hosted, then you can go into something called web analytics here, and you can do a lot more. Going to visitor lists, I can see with the self-hosted every user's activity click by click, page by page, so I can see what let's have a look at this one. Go into this, I can see visitor list. Oh no, we have to go into. Okay, so I can see the date, the user, I can see the IP address that they've accessed the site from. We mentioned this quite a bit, but we have a client who has consultants. They send out on to a location, and they actually have a dashboard that we created, a custom dashboard that uses IP address to track which client they're actually at. So that's quite useful for them. But in here you can see IP address and the page that they visited, and I can see this every single page they visited, the date and time they visited it. I can do a filter using any of these fields and more, I think. No, just those fields. Any of those fields to drill down into a particular user or a particular page or something, or date range, and I can see activity page by page for that user. And then you've got a lot of other tools inside here. I can see online visitors, so who's actually online right now. This site's just one person in this demo site. Site traffic, popular pages, which are the best pages, how many hits we've had, what percentage. You can get, essentially you store every activity. It does also mean that if somebody's done something in the system, you can usually track what they've done. If someone's done something wrong or deleted something, you want to find out who's done that, you can generally track that sort of thing if you've got self-hosted. Could you show the help desk module? Yeah, we can do that. If we just go into the extranet and support here, then first thing is that you can create, you can have a support page available in the extranet whereby your clients can come in, create a ticket and review their tickets inside here. In addition to that, you can set up a support email address, and so when they send an email to that, it automatically creates a ticket. But we mentioned earlier, it creates a reply to automatically sent to that user, and it gives them a TID number in the subject line. Provided they keep replying with that TID number, then it keeps adding that to the ticket. So there's that, how you can create a ticket. Let's look at the control panel at the help desk. So it's in services and help desk trouble tickets. So you get to access the help desk agents access tickets from the control panel side, and again you can create filters up here to show, just filter out tickets which are live or by certain. They have a status by colour indicators here, so you can just filter out those particular tickets you want to see, and you can open the ticket. And not much content in this one. It says the website is not working at normal speed. I can then select to answer that. I can do kind of stock answers, and we can change the status, change the responsible person, categorize these, etc., etc. And we've got our reply, and we can send that. So I can post a reply to the ticket inside here. It will generate an email with that reply inside the email, and that's it really. And there's loads of other things you can do, I suppose, in terms of you can create different support levels, so you can have different people on different levels, which means that they get a different response time, and based on the response time the support agents get reminder emails and alerts and things like that. They have you can create groups for people to access tickets. You can have different tickets go to different people, so based on what they put in the ticket. When they're creating a ticket, you can create a wizard instead of just a standard form, and you could ask them certain questions about what it's relating to. Based on the answers to those questions, the tickets can automatically be assigned to different users. Okay, let's put our contact details up for a little bit, in case you need to get in touch with us afterwards or during. If you want to get in touch with us during, send it to live@interface, or just post the messages in the chat window. Can you show us how to set up different permission levels for my employees? Yeah, that's a good question. Couple of things you need to do. I mean, there's different permissions. If we're just looking at the cloud product, because on the self-hosted you can do quite a lot to actually just go, well, I don't want to show that element to this group of users, or I want to just show that element to this department or group of users, and you could hide menu items to different people. You can get really advanced inside the control panel doing things like that. You can even have elements appear for certain time periods, and you can use PHP to do all sorts of conditions around what people see. But the basic settings for permissions will start in employees. So create a company structure. Create your departments, add a department. You can drag these departments around so that they sit underneath other departments, and then you need to place people in those departments, have a head of each department, and then have the team. So this is the head, of course, and these are the guys who work in that department. You can sort of nest departments together. You can have departments sit below the departments, and they'll group up like that, as you can see. So you can create quite a big sort of company structure, and this allows you to create permissions around what people can see based on departments. So you can create a permission in this case. If you're in this Sales North department, you create a permission whereby you can see any records. We're talking about the CRM. You can see any records that you're responsible for, or anyone else in your department is responsible for. In addition to that, you can be allowed to see records that are associated with people in departments that are below you as well. So that's why, if you create the company structure first and then create your permissions sort of structure after that. So once you've done that, there are different permissions inside tasks and drives and things like that. I guess you're referring to CRM. I'll show you the CRM first. So you go into CRM, go into more and settings, and permissions and access permissions. So what you need to do is firstly create your roles and then assign those roles to either an individual user or a department, or you could even assign them to all the people of a work group or something like that. But I'll just show you who you can assign them to first. But user group is actually a self-hosted term, and that's, you would get that on the cloud. Users, so you can assign a role to one individual user. Department and social network groups are work groups. So we would generally be looking at departments. You'd be looking at going, well, the HR department, all department employees for the HR, I'm going to give them this particular role or something like that. So you're doing it the wrong way around. You create a role first, but let's have a look at that role. Sales executive. Click in here to edit that role. You'll have some roles already created, and you can use those and edit those. But essentially inside these roles you've got a whole load of different entities here. We've got a lot of different deal pipelines here, and so they all appear here because you can create different roles for each individual pipeline. But you've got company contact, all these deal pipelines, leads, quotes, invoices, orders, etc., etc. Quite a few, all the modules that exist inside the CRM down the left hand side, across the different permissions that you can set. And so yeah, as I said, you can choose access denied. I can only see in this case I'm looking at reading, viewing contacts. So I can deny all, allow access to just read my own, allow access to read mine and anyone in my department, anyone in my department, any departments below me, all that are active in the system, or just basically all contacts. So you might give people access to read. You might restrict what they can do in terms of updating, adding content, editing. You certainly might restrict what they can do in terms of deleting. So it might restrict what they can do in terms of exporting. So you might want to export en masse and importing over here. So you need to go across and do this for companies, contacts and deals, etc., etc. If I just expand one of these deal pipelines, you can see that these are all the stages that we have available in that deal, and you can start to create permissions based on the stage. So should the stage progress to say a 1, what you probably want to do when it's a 1 opportunity is just give access denied, probably, so that you can't, preventing people from actually changing a deal once it's been won, so that it's locked down. But what you might want to do is give access to all that you own and all that belong to people in your department for the other stages. So that's it. Question about sites. Where are the files stored for these added sites? And 2, are the components iBlocks available to build these sites? So where the files stored? Well, they're stored on your instance, on your the Bitrix hosts on Amazon Web Services, and wherever you choose to, depending on which location you access Bitrix from, it will automatically generally route you through to the right website, and based on which website you sign up on, then it will create an instance in that local region. I can't remember how many there are, but there's a lot. There's US, Europe, a couple in Europe, UK. I think there's a couple in the US, one in the UK, one in Europe, then the Far East and the Middle East, and etc. So depending where you are, automatically creates an instance in that location. That's where the files are stored. Are components iBlocks available to build these sites? Yeah, there's a lot of different components that you can use when you create a site. I'm not too sure if I can go into this and show you. Let's see what we can do. So yeah, sorry, unfortunately I'm probably not going to be the best person to show you sites, but it is with a bit of clicking around pretty straightforward. I think trying to look where you can access all the settings for a site. Site preferences, page preferences, probably in here. I mean, I think probably the best thing to do is rather than me showing you, trying to click around and find it all, just to go in and have a look. You can edit, you can edit in each individual section. You can edit these sections. So if I go into design, change the padding, change the color background colors, and then if I click into edit, various other things that you can do. I think probably the options you get in this page depend on which kind of element you're looking at. So yeah, I think it's worth to look at actions. I think it's worth, you can add individual blocks here. So yeah, so here, this is what you're probably looking for. So if you've chosen a theme, if you click on add block, then you can choose different types of blocks. So covers, text, video blocks, blocks with columns, separator blocks, footers, forms. These ones show calendars and things. So I think the standard sort of like thing you expect to see on WordPress, all the different information blocks, they're all there. Is it possible to connect social media account for my social media agency clients? No, you can't. You can't manage social media on Bitrix. Bitrix isn't isn't a platform that allows you to post messages onto social media. And there are ways of receiving things like tweets and things like that into an activity stream inside Bitrix. So you can see tweets feed into your activity stream along with all the sort of other activity. But Bitrix certainly isn't a method to kind of create posts and send posts out to social media platforms. You can integrate, of course, with Facebook inside the CRM. Let's just go into CRM. So we have open channels, which allows you to create a channel. Can't see. Oh, contact center now. Call contact center now. So you can create an integration with Facebook. And this allows you to manage messages coming in from Facebook inside Bitrix. So when somebody goes to your Facebook page, sends you a message, it will pop up as a chat window here, and you can reply directly from Bitrix, and their reply will come back in, and the whole conversation gets saved, or can be saved against a CRM contact or a lead or something. So you can reply to messages whereby there's an integration available. So we have that on Facebook. We don't have Instagram, WhatsApp, we do have Instagram. Sorry, there is Instagram. We don't have WhatsApp or LinkedIn is not available at the moment. But I mean, that sort of thing, if you really wanted it, would be possible to develop, I guess. Or Bitrix will no doubt be launching it at some point. Okay, back to the question about website information blocks. Saying that you meant the Bitrix iBlocks, like lists and news that are available in the Bitrix framework itself. So I think what is available is available in this list view that we looked at. I tell you, if you again come back to self-hosted, if you're using self-hosted, you can really get around, create anything you want. But those are the blocks that are available. Now, some of them, like which news feed? Oh, that's probably CRM form. I mean, that integrates with the CRM. So anyone who populates that can deletes that, it will generate a lead or something. I think schedule, I think that integrates with your calendar, and you can put your available times in and free times, and it shows up dynamically inside that form. So so in terms of lists and news and things like that, you can't post those things on. There's probably actually some restriction in terms of the licensing that would prevent you from doing that. So some of the information inside Bitrix is not information that you're actually allowed to publish publicly under the terms of the license, so like CRM information. So, but on the self-hosted, we could build something, provided it's under the terms of the license. We could build some things to allow some of that internal information to become available on a public website. But in terms of what's available, it's these things. It's these things here as standard. So I'm going to put our contact details up there because I talked for quite a bit. Just got a couple of minutes left. If you've got any more questions, we can do a few more questions. Can I integrate OneDrive into Bitrix24? So I'll show you what options you've got in terms of integration with drives. Go to our activity stream. So Bitrix has its own drive, of course, so you can access documents that you store in here and share them with people. You can't integrate with another document platform and access the documents on that platform inside your Bitrix drive link like this. That's not possible. What is possible is to share a document you have either in Bitrix or in your OneDrive, which I believe is the same as Office 365, or in your Google Drive or in your Dropbox. Share one of the documents with people inside a post inside Bitrix. So I can say, please check, and we can then grab that document from here. Not logged in, but if you're logged in, your documents will be available in this window, and you can then bring that into Bitrix and share that. So yeah, you can't integrate. That's the integration we have with those providers. So it's pretty good. I think really, if you're using, I don't really think you'd need anything more than that. If you're using OneDrive, your OneDrive's open on another tab here. You can open documents and access them and edit them and things like that. When you want to share them inside Bitrix, just click on there and bring it in. Yeah. Okay, just a minute left. Is it possible to create a simple landing page in order to build an email list? Yeah, you can create landing pages. So you can create landing pages inside sites. You can add a form to that page, and anyone who completes that form will generate a lead inside your system, and then you can do all sorts of automation on those leads to do what you need to do. You can then categorize those leads so that you can put them into a list, and then you can run a campaign on it. I mean, you can capture the lead, you can save that lead, or even automatically convert that lead into a contact, and then you can automatically send them a bulk email, add them to the next bulk email or something. Do all that without any effort from your side. So I think that's about an hour. So I've put our contact details up there. If you want to register for webinars, if you go to interface.com/webinars, you can register for our webinars. And if you want to be notified about live sessions, if you subscribe to Interface on YouTube and Bitrix24 on YouTube, when you click on notifications, then you'll get notification about live sessions. We do the same live session. We do a live session at the same time every week, and it's for an hour, and it's on any subject on Bitrix24. There's normally 2 people here. So yeah, subscribe, and hopefully see you next time.